And let's see how many. Perfect. All right. Looks like ladies. It's a ladies' Sunday. I love it. I love it. So I was thinking, you guys, how can I make this incredibly practical? Because of every presentation I do, my intention is, if I can leave you with one nugget, make this very practical so you could take it and look at your life from a bird's view perspective. And you can evaluate the transition times, those times where you feel really confused and you're like, I thought I figured this life out. And then everything becomes really unclear. And it's that process of spiritual metamorphosis. It's so profound. And what helps us to understand what's happening to us when we are like that caterpillar, right? And we go through this process of disintegration. And everything melts away. And everything that used to give us certainty in this life and some kind of sense of groundness is being taken away, or we are asked to release that because it doesn't serve us anymore. For those times, it's so important to have that bird's view perspective and look at the themes through history, through myths, through legends, through stories, and trace the similarity of the unfoldment of that hero's journey. So for this class, I have three intentions. First, to help you see where are you losing your personal and spiritual power? Where are you losing it? You can tell what are the areas of your life where you literally losing your power, and how can you retrieve your soul fragments. So that's the intention number one. We'll go into that. Number two, I wanted to share with you about your support team, your invisible support team. You have three angels. And you can take this metaphor as metaphorically as you'd like, or as literally as you'd like. I like to believe that there are angels in our lives, our guardian spirits, spirit guides. And there's three of them that accompany you through your entire life journey. And each of those angels have a different goal and different purpose to teach you something. So we'll go into that. Also, I'd like to give you kind of an overview of your archetypes. You choose 12 of them, 12 archetypes, 12 guardians. And there are so many archetypes, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. But your soul, before you incarnate, you choose 12 constant companions because they give you the right guidance and the right support to unlock and bring to fruition your unique spiritual gifts. And they guide you and they nudge you, and sometimes they redirect you to the path that is really meant for you, not to the path that other people told you should be on. Do you like this plan? I hope you do. All right, you guys, let's see who else is joined here. Hi, Nicolette. We have Women Powerhouse today. I love that. I love to see you ladies. This is so interesting. I was at the Red Rock at sunrise meditating and listening to one of my spiritual teachers. And she said that for women, why women are drawn to the spiritual knowledge way more than men. Not every man, but way more. It's because for us, when we come to that self-empowerment and spiritual empowerment, to us, empowerment equates freedom. Freedom to be who we're not. Freedom to create life on our terms. And freedom is something that we've been kind of conditioned that we have to sell our power to be free. And that's partially the archetypal work that I will touch on today. There's survival archetypes, 4 of them, and we'll go over them today as well. And you guys, when I begin to study this a little bit deeper, it's so powerful to see the patterns that you encounter in your life again and again. And you say, why am I encountering this situation again? I thought I mastered that lesson. And it comes back with a new force. And this is the gift of survival archetypes. You have a child, victim, saboteur, and the prostitute. Each of those survival archetypes kind of shines the light on the area of your life that you give your power away, or maybe forget or get seduced by somebody else promising you to give you more power than you can generate from yourself. Are you guys excited? Okay, me too. So I have tons of slides for you and tons of information and tons of transformation. But before we go in there, I want to ask you, why are you here? You see the chat box in your lower tab. And if you can type and say, okay, Katerina, I'm here, this is why. Are you entering a new chapter in your life? Are you looking for more clarity about what are you here to do? So type in the chat and I will keep your answers confidentially. It's just kind of, I love to protect your privacy. So it's just for me to see how deeper I need to go at a particular topic. All right. And you guys can hear me okay, right? Yeah? Okay, perfect. Let's see. I also have notes, so I'm going to look at notes. I hope you're okay with that. This is what let me just give you kind of an introduction why I am so passionate about sharing this knowledge with you. I began to study the work of Carolyn Myss, and I highly encourage you to look through her books. You know, she's known for Sacred Contract, Advanced Energy Medicine, archetypal psychology. She dedicated her entire life for that. And she combines the ancient mysticism with the modern science and with quantum physics. So she's kind of in both worlds, you know? So I began studying her work, and she kept telling, perfect. At least I can see that you guys can chat. Perfect. Okay, wonderful. And I began to listen to her audios, to her videos, and she kept saying the same key message, is that from the moment we're born, we are conditioned by the environment, by the people around us, to give our power away, to sell our power, to be seduced by external forces that tells us that we don't have what it takes. And it was really interesting. And then she took it a little bit deeper. And she would say, you know what? Why do you think some people can create or can manifest, can transform, can heal so much faster than others? If this law of attraction or if this energetic healing worked for everybody, why is it not working for everybody? So she began digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And she brought this interesting metaphor that from the moment you wake up, just imagine you wake up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., whatever your schedule, your spirit literally embodies your body. When you are asleep, your spirit lives, right? And when you wake up, your spirit embodies your body. And even though right now you're here on the webinar with me, your body seems to be present. But the interesting perspective I want to offer you is ask yourself how much of your energy is actually in this present moment. And how much of your energy and your life force is in the past or in the future or is in some kind of unhealed stuff. So take this metaphor and imagine every day you wake up and you have a specific amount of energy to create your life with. And just for the sake of metaphor, imagine it's $100. You wake up, every day you have 100 energy units. And imagine you wake up and you still have something unresolved. Maybe you gave a commitment, maybe you gave a promise to somebody and you haven't fulfilled it. When you do that, and when we do that, our energy literally is being invested in the past. And we're leaking our life force. So imagine if you were born in a tough childhood, like so many of us, right? And you had this unhealed trauma, unhealed grief, unhealed loss. What happens, we're losing the life force every day because our energy is literally focused into the past memory. So imagine you wake up with 100 units, 50 of them already invested into the past. So you only have 50 units to create your life. Out of those 50 units, maybe 20 of them goes into self-doubt and fear. You're only left with 30. So out of that 30 units, that's all you have to kind of propel you forward towards your destiny. That's why every spiritual leader, every spiritual teacher will always bring us to the simplicity that when we come back to the present moment, that's where our true power is. And I began digging deeper through this metaphysical knowledge and say, okay, our spiritual community teaches us that, we can create everything we want. And where are we losing our power? And we're losing our power if we keep focusing on our spiritual journey that's only about healing our wounds, right? We're stuck there. So there's a moment where you realize you've been stuck in your woundology for too long. And it's time to actually shift your focus and close the door into the past. And say, my power is in the present moment, and how can I move forward? And here's something I wanted to share with you guys. I'm so excited to do this. I have this whiteboard. Boom. So this is something I wanted to share with you. Your psychic weight. This is your memories of the past, right? Your old something unhealed. Equates how long you're going to wait for your destiny to come to full force. So the more psychic weight, the more baggage you carry, the less speed you can accelerate towards actually creating what you desire. That's why it's so important, there comes a point where you make a choice and you say, I'm going to close the door on speaking about my traumas and speaking about my wounds. I'm speaking about, what's lacking in my life, and really become aware, what do I speak into the world? What thoughts do I entertain? And really take my power back, retrieve my soul fragments back into this present moment. All right, I want to see what you guys shared. Spiritual gifts, okay. I'm curious to learn about life purpose, what would be my spiritual gifts and what I can do with them. Beautiful, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's do this. Thank you for your patience while I'm figuring out this new technology. Boom. We're gonna go into this and hide my camera. Okay, you guys. So here's your soul contract. I'm gonna put this. This is one of my favorite presentations to do because it just gives so much clarity. So the science of co-creation, that's what we're going to go into. Your sacred contract, and there's 5 stages of them. Your co-creator toolbox and your support team. And it's so life-changing when you learn that you have an entire invisible support, your entire crew that cheers you on your journey, so you don't have to do it alone. So before we get started, full presence, beginner's mind, I call it the curiosity head, and I will open the time for us to do questions and answers at the end. So most of you know me, right? We've met before online. And this is part of my sacred contract, is to share what I find on my own spiritual journey, is to share with the people who drawn to me. And why is it so important, you guys? Because this is how you can tell who you have a special soul contract with. You will be drawn to those people. You will have that trust in your gut, you know? So I always say, verify. Whatever you hear, just verify it. Listen to your body. Does your body says, yes, there is something to it. There is some kind of wisdom. There is some kind of truth that resonates with where I'm at. Then you can tell there is a possibility of a soul contract with that person. All right. So the most important questions that you can ask yourself at any point in your life is this: where are you going and who is going with you? And they say it's important to ask these questions in this order. Not who is coming with you and then where are you going, right? That's usually how we make our first romantic relationship. Who is coming with me, where I'm going? But then with your process of spiritual growth, you begin to ask these two questions in this order. Where are you heading? What's the next chapter for you? And looking around and say, wow, who is my support team? Who are the people I have soul contracts with? So to keep it simple, you incarnate into this body. And you're here for specific life lessons. So life lessons are very different than your karma that you inherited from your parents. Your karma, just to give you kind of a comparison, your karma is an energy, right? And the reason why we call it negative karma is because that it's a twisted energy. It's an energy that goes in reverse direction. So instead of giving you power, you're losing your power. Okay? Life lessons are particular themes that you keep learning and relearning again and again and again. So your life lesson may be to love yourself, or to trust your guidance, or to serve others on a global scale. Whatever that your life lessons is, it's going to be uniquely to you. And the difference between a karma and a life lesson, karma you can resolve and you don't have to drag it around till the end of your day. And the life lesson, it's like a theme for you. So maybe a life lesson for you is to forgive. And what are the best way for you to learn how to forgive? Well, attract somebody. See if you can see me. Yes. So what would be the best way for you guys to learn how to forgive, right? You will choose to be born in a very difficult, challenging family environment. So your family members create a very challenging situation where you have no chance but to forgive and learn how to forgive. So one of the marks of you as an old soul, if you had a very challenging childhood. Usually old souls love to incarnate in those difficult environments because there is no way to run. You have to learn the lessons to forgive. The same thing with that you will choose romantic partners that betray you, maybe cheat on you. You do this, the reason I'm sharing with you guys this is to give you a perspective, like there's very few things that are random in your life. Very, very few. We choose to incarnate specific set of circumstances, specific people that we have contracts with, specific life lessons, and very few things are random. They all teach us a lesson. So let's see. This is how it is. So who are you meant to meet, right? And what are you here on earth to create? And who are you here to meet? My favorite topic of all, because you have these three groups. Think about this like this. It's three groups. So you have your soul group, right? It's people they think like you. You just have that electricity and the charge and alignment, and you're just drawn to them. They speak your language. That's your soul group. Then you have this group called noble friends. And it's not what you think. You can call them adversaries. It's people who choose to play the role of your enemy to teach you the lessons of forgiveness, right? And then the third group is people, you meet and you're just there to deliver them a message. It can be very brief, and they deliver your message. They're kind of like your guides. If you get off your trail, get off your path, they will you meet them and they deliver your message and you're back on track. Have you ever had an impactful conversation meeting somebody on the plane, on the train, on the beach? One conversation, and you're like, wow, what just happened? That's your third group, the messengers. So remember that you choose to play that role as well. So every person in your life has some kind of significance in your life. And when you learn to recognize that electricity with people, you begin meeting them with more reverence and respect and honor, right? That's what I'm sharing you. Okay, let's see. So you're in the right place, right? We can go over this a little bit faster. How can you apply what you learn? Well, you can see what are the areas of your life where you're losing your personal and spiritual power. Recognize your assignments and recognize when you enter in a whole new cycle, right? And how can you recognize where you've been redirected and move into that transition with more grace. And have discernment of choices, absolutely. I want to go a little bit further. Okay, so sacred contract, you guys. It's an agreement your soul makes before you are born. And this is something I wanted to share with you. When you incarnate, you get these physical coordinates. Imagine that you choose to be a woman, a man, particular race, particular country. Those are your physical coordinates. None of that is random. Absolutely none of it is random. They all guide you towards your destiny. And when we talk about your 3 angels, you will see how it applies, why it matters. So you make a promise to do particular things for yourself, for others, and for the global community, right? So always I like to remind myself what the purpose of having so many souls on our planets right now who have they're not plugged in to the biggest circuits of their life destiny. I think that's the biggest waste of human life. The biggest waste. And deep down, we all know that we're here to do something big. And what often is one of the ways why we hold ourselves back from fully embodying our destiny is because sometimes we're afraid to live what we already know. We're afraid to live it. And knowing that, you guys, knowing that it's a universal human condition to meet that fear head on, and that's why we have those archetypes and those guardians that help us to remember that it's okay. It's a human way of actually rediscovering your strength. Okay, so this is the contract. Your responsibility is to discover what is it you're here to do. That is your responsibility. That is my responsibility. Nobody is going to figure it out for us but us. The divine, in turn, promises to give you everything that you require for your contract to be fulfilled. It's promised. It's guaranteed. And when we talk about your angels, you will see how you actually, besides coming to these physical coordinates, right? Your body, your country, the level of wealth that you were born on, maybe level of poverty. Everything is really carefully orchestrated. And then your contract is an interesting thing because your contract unfolds step by step by step by step. I wish there are some parts of me, you guys, when I sometimes say, I wish I just knew my soul contract, like from A to Z, I just know where I'm going, where I'm moving. Doesn't work like that. You're given an insight, you're given a download, you're given a direction, you're given a message. And the divine is waiting. It's like divine's giving you, it's like a ball is in your court, right? When you play tennis, it's just like that. And then until you make your next move, you're not going to see the unfoldment of your life path. It's been designed like this. And why? Why would it be designed like this, right? It's because this is the way how we empower ourselves and how we step into our true power, by learning what we're made of. And by turning that, maybe you saw a video that I did yesterday. I was talking about the spiritual alchemy, how this process of living our destiny is literally alchemical process of turning your lead into gold. And the more lead you have, think about lead is like unprocessed stuff that needs a lot of transformation. So the more lead you have, the longer your transformation will be. And almost like the slower your process will be, right? That psychic wait equates how long you're going to wait for your destiny to unravel. And I'm sharing this with you guys because sometimes we get incredibly impatient. We say, I've been on this path and I've been doing this work for so long, and why are things are not going as fast as I'd like them to? And I've been in those situations when I ask myself that question. And it teaches you patience and teaches you humility and say, you know what, maybe there's so much in me that still needs to be looked at. And having that humility, asking for divine grace and say, whatever that I need to give up, literally give up, let go, I will. All right, let's see, a sacred contract. Definitely not your hobby and not your romantic relationship. We're coming back to the same theme, right? It's your overall relationship to your personal power and a spiritual power. How do you work with your energy and who do you give it to? Remember that example of $100 energy bill that you wake up every day? Where do you invest it? Do you remember, you guys, I don't know how many of you come from a Christian spiritual tradition. Do you remember that story about 3 people who got money from their master? And a master said, I'm going to leave for 5 years or a decade. I don't remember the exact story. But I'm giving you 1 piece of gold, and I'm giving you 2 pieces of gold, and I'm giving you 3 pieces of gold. Do you remember that story? And the master comes back, and he was furious with which person? With the person who said, Master, I treasured your gold so much, I buried it in the ground, and here it is. And the master was furious. The story resonated with me so deeply. And I'm like, why did that master get so furious? It's because, when we bury our talents, when we have those powerful spiritual gifts, and we don't take the time, we fear the alchemy, the process of spiritual transformation, the process of going from a caterpillar to butterfly. We fear it. Because the number one thing that will be asked of you is to let go of any kind of sense of security, specifically your financial security, as soon as you answer your soul's calling. Does anybody on the call can resonate with that? Why do you guys think this is the number one test that comes up, boom, right away? We get excited. Beautiful, Michael. We're gonna hold the questions until the end. Let me know if you can't hear me. Okay, perfect. We're gonna hold the questions at the very end, and then I will answer them live with you. But I wanted to share with you this, guys. This is really interesting. As soon as you say, I'm answering my soul's call, I'm gonna do what really makes my heart sing. I'm gonna serve others. The very first test that you hit with, literally, is your attachment to the need of having your soul work validated was how much money you're going to generate through that. I can guarantee you that. It's a tough one because you're going through this literally disintegration of your attachments of is your soul work valid because you want to be guaranteed the safety, security, and reward. Just a thought to leave you with that. And a lot of people, it's an incredibly terrifying journey to go into because you will be faced to question your attachments. All right, moving along. Let's see. Relationship contracts. Here we go. My favorite topic. I mentioned already, right? It's electricity that you feel with people. And then on the contrary, you guys, think about people who try so hard to get into your life, right? Maybe they contact you, they want to hang out with you, and you just don't feel that spark. You're like, I don't know, I'm just not drawn to this person. You don't have any agreements there. You don't have any agreements there. So it's okay. Give yourself that sense of relief. Trust your body has way more wisdom than your mind. Trust that you're drawn to a particular person. There is some work there to do. There are some gifts to be exchanged. Resonance. We already covered the noble friend. That's your enemy, what you perceive enemy. And the soulmates. And the soulmate's just a soul group. Your mentor, your student, your lover. Those are your soulmates. Your life partner. Yes. Okay, the warning, right? So you know when you're not in your contract, when you feel restless. When you feel restless. I like to tell this story when I was in India. You guys, just a little bit briefly. And this is so powerful. When I was in India, I kind of stumbled on this Indian wedding. And did you know that the most marriages in our world are arranged? We are the people in the Western society that has this privilege to date and actually choose somebody to date and choose who we love and choose who we'll marry. But I was in India and I was invited for Indian wedding and I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, do you see the celebration? So I went there. And I'll never forget because for the first time, I saw a person who was forced into a contract of not her own. And you can see this beautiful bride, beautiful young bride, all decorated in this gorgeous traditional dress. And her face was just grief. And this is the beginning, this is the beginning of that grief. If a person doesn't feel safe to express that grief, to rebel against the contract that she is pushed into, that grief is going to go internal. How can we apply this to our life? Well, have you ever been in a situation where you might have stayed in a relationship that was way past expiration point? Maybe you stayed in a particular occupation, a job, or a situation, or a place that was giving you a sense of security. And deep inside of you, you just knew, like you are there and way past expiration point, and you feel stuck. So whenever you feel stuck, you know that your contract with that particular situation, event, and place is expiring or maybe already expired. And some part of you are still afraid because for you to open this new chapter, right, you got to let go of what you know and be okay with the gap. So whenever you feel stuck, that's a signal. Listen to it. Listen to it. Okay, let's see. being forced into a contract. We already covered that, right? So just remember that image of the Indian bride and pay attention, you guys. You can look at your friends in your environment, right? Or maybe your relatives. That's the easy one, because maybe your friends are already quite conscious people. Look at your relatives and look at that energy when they talk, about their life. Is it constant complaining, constant unease? Because people are stuck in the contracts beyond their expiration point. And you can see how it affects them. So you can observe. Okay, so the lives of great men, right? You can see all these spiritual teachers. When you study their lives, they have a very similar biography. They were born in the different countries, but they had different, very similar pattern of how they were called to their mission in life, how they answered their call, or maybe run away from it, right? So study these spiritual leaders just out of curiosity. But to give you an example, right? I believe it's a number three stage in your sacred contract. It's called renaming, when you literally choose a different name for yourself. For example, Jesus, right? He was Jesus, then he became Christ. The same was Buddha. He was Siddhartha, then he became Buddha. So the same thing was Mother Teresa. She was a Teresa, then she was named Mother Teresa. You see what I mean? So that's the stage 3 in your sacred contract, when you literally feel something in you will be like, I'm ready for a new name. Whatever that name that I was given doesn't represent me. Pay attention to that. Okay, here we go, you guys. Stages of sacred contract. We're going to go over this pretty fast because I want to honor your time, and I know it's a Sunday. All right, let's do this. First one is the contact. This is the moment where you know that your life is going to go in a very different direction. I'm curious about your contact with your soul in the intimate level. Maybe it was a gradual process, and maybe it was a very dramatic experience, but it's a contact. An example from, let's say, from Christian tradition. Remember Moses, right? And the burning bush. And I don't belong to any particular religion. I like to use those stories because they're easy for us to grasp and to remember. And Christian stories, they're kind of known across the world. But remember Moses, remember Abraham, remember all those leaders, even Jesus, even Buddha. They each had this moment in their life where they had a contact with the divine. And they knew that however they used to live their life, it's over. It's in the past. This is a new chapter. So this is the first one. The next one is the call, where usually there is this time period between a contact and a call, you guys. And let's see here, just maybe like this. And you will feel the call to do something different. Maybe you live a corporate America and you become an entrepreneur. Maybe you leave your country and you go to a new land. But this is going to be a really big chapter in your life where whatever used to work is not satisfying anymore. You're not happy. And you oftentimes we're forced into a contract. If we're really stubborn, we're going to develop illness. And our body will start demanding our attention. And usually we ignore our body signals, right? So the body will take a very extreme route and get sick on us. So we'll listen, we slow down, because when we are healthy and we're moving forward and we're super busy, how do you think the divine can get our attention? Through some dramatic measures. Death, loss, illness. Usually some of the most radical but effective ways of our soul, our spirit, to get our attention. So this is the stage number 2. Then the stage number 3, renaming, right? And that's, I already covered on that. You choose a name that represents a different version of who you are. It's an interesting process. The same thing happened to me when I just got a download. My last name is Satori, and it's a moment-to-moment awareness and awakening. And it was very clear. Boom, just happened like that. So the stage number 4, assignments. That's where we're here, you guys. We're talking about assignments, right? And those are, how do you know that those assignments are for you? Well, you learn to recognize synchronicities. They're like these magical coincidences, so to speak. You ask for guidance, you ask for direction. A video comes your way, an invitation to a webinar like this, maybe a phone call, maybe a book just literally lands on your lap. And at first you just say, oh, maybe, it's just a coincidence. Then you become, the more and more you open your spiritual eyes, you see your life nothing but a chain of synchronicities, one leading to a next, to a next, to a next. And the only times we miss those synchronicities is when we become impatient, And when you're patient and you ask for guidance and you know it's gonna come, your job is just to be patient and wait for it. So that's the stage number 4. Stage number 5 is surrender. This is not the easiest stage to be at all. And this one is when, I almost struggle to explain the stage. I have a feeling that, when you reach it, maybe you're already there. Maybe the reason why you're here is because you are in that stage. But think about it this way. You answer the call to the divine. You say, I'm stepping into the vision of why I'm really here. And the first initiation, right? Remember we were talking about your attachment to financial security and the need to have a guarantee that you will have particular results, particular impact even, You will be given this test to see your attachments to that. Why are you doing what you're doing? What's your core drive behind what you do? Is it the need for approval? Is it the need for attention? Is it a need for significance? Is it a need for fill in the blank? So that's kind of a next level of initiation. Then another layer of surrender that often happens when you start question your attachment to your goals. I wonder if you've been there. That stage for me happened in 2015, so 2 years ago. And I started being questioned, okay, how attached I am to this goal or that goal or that goal. And how much of my goal planning process was simply my mind trying to come up with a life plan that is good for me, and how much of it is really from my soul. In the stage of surrender, where you find yourself on the floor in the prayer position, or in the nature, in the quiet solitude, and where you just have this inner acceptance, a radical embrace of the mystery of life and the mystery of your calling. And you say, I am gonna live my soul contract, even if it means that I will never know what will be required of me. I'm gonna answer yes, even if I don't know where it's gonna lead me. This is one of the key ideas I wanna leave you guys with. Remember how oftentimes we want to know how our destiny looks like, how our contract looks like, who are those people who are meant to do these great things, right? We want to know that. It gives some sense of stability and security. But the mystery of the soul contract is that we're never going to know that until we say yes. And what we're saying yes to is the continual unfoldment of our path. And through the continual unfoldment of our path, we learn that we really can trust our soul. That whatever that we are required to give up is for one reason only, to receive so much more in a different form, from a different place, on a different timing. So giving up that attachment to our schedule, to our goals, to our sense of entitlement almost. I wonder if you can relate to all of this. This is what I've been going through, you know? And it's really powerful because you say yes and you just like, you're like, okay, here's another leap. And with every leap into your expansion, the stakes go higher. You stretch your capacity for trust. You stretch your inner resolve to persevere when it's required of you. And also you stretch your level of generosity. How many people can you let in? How many people you can share your process with when it's real for you? So I encourage you to look at these soul assignments that we're here to fulfill, not like a distant thing to arrive to, but knowing that you're already living your assignment. You're already living your purpose. And your only job is to ask for that guidance, to open your eyes, to see deeper from a kind of a bird's view perspective. And when you get that guidance, my only encouragement for you is to not to fear it. Not to fear it. Because at times it will be scary. And I'm not here to scare you, but I just want to share with you guys the real process, you know? I'm not going to say to you that it's going to be easy. No. I am going to say to you that it's going to be the most fulfilling journey that you will be on. Yeah, you might fall and scratch and, you know, sometimes you'll go through this time of being incredibly feeling lonely and alone on your journey. The spiritual journey oftentimes is a very solitary path. And that's why it's so important to remember your soul family. And you guys here on this call, because you resonate with what I share, right? So knowing that, look around your circle. Look how many people already in your field that they're to support you, that you're never really alone. All right, let's see how much time we have. Okay, just a little bit more and I'll let you go, guys. The archetypes, right? I'm like, guys, I am utterly obsessed with archetypes, utterly obsessed. And the reason why is because they teach you, let's see, archetypes, the gatekeepers of your higher purpose. So Plato and Carl Jung, they began the archetypal work. Think about archetypes. They're like universal patterns in your psyche, right? So you have your conscious mind, which is only maybe 10%. And then the rest is your unconscious mind, subconscious mind, and your superconscious mind. So your subconscious mind thinks in images, sound, vibration, and feeling, right? And in stories. That's why we remember stories. That's why whenever I have these talks with you guys, I use a lot of stories. So you remember stories, you remember metaphors. The same thing with your archetypes. They help you to understand your place in the world, right? Okay, let's see. Check this out. So this is a very simple version of an archetypal wheel. So when you look at that, you might be drawn to a particular archetype right away. You'll be like, this one is here, this one, this one, this one, this one. And I would say pay attention to that, but then I also invite you to go deeper, because this is how archetype works. For example, when you incarnate, you have a conversation with one of your archetypes, one of your companions, and you say, you know, this lifetime, I would really like to learn how it is to be self-directed being. I like to be an independent thinker. I like to really have this ability to stand on the ground and own my voice and develop my own wisdom. So you have this conversation before you incarnate. This is a life lesson that you'd like to learn, let's say, right? And your archetype says, cool, okay, we can do that. We can get this done. And for that to happen, you will be born in a family that you do not resonate with at all. That you feel like that misfit. You feel like an ugly duckling from that story. You don't resonate. They don't accept you from the very beginning. Why would you choose that? To develop an independent way to think. Because for you to learn to think for yourself, you choose to be born in a family where you just don't fit. You don't relate to them, right? So you don't accept, you don't get immersed into your family patterns of thinking. A lot of people will have the most difficult time to separate from the tribe, to separate from their family tradition, from their family beliefs. So if you had a very challenging family, consider yourself incredibly lucky, because you chose those conditions to initiate the process of separation from your family way, way earlier than most people will go naturally. Does that make sense to you guys? So this is the archetype of an orphan. I wonder if I could just see your, maybe let's do this. Stop share. Okay, perfect. Let me see your questions. Okay, learn more. Okay, so you guys, this is the archetypal wisdom, is that you choose particular physical coordinates, how you look, how much money that you have when you're born in a particular family. Are you born incredibly rich? Are you born incredibly challenging environment, right? Are you the only child in the family? Or you have 7 brothers and sisters? Nothing is random. Absolutely nothing is random. Everything is designed to point you to a particular life destiny. So when we speak about archetypes, and this is like, we can do the whole workshop just on that theme. I wanted to plant a seed in your mind that you have these 4 survival archetypes. And a lot of times people will confuse, they think that, okay, well, saboteur is active in my field to sabotage my desire to go to the next level. That's not what a saboteur is there to do. The gift of a saboteur is to show you the reasons why you sabotage your best opportunities. Why, when you have the big moment where all your training, all your studying, all your development, all your growth, that you've been prepared for this moment, and when the moment comes, you put the foot on the brake and you say, I can't do this. It's over my head. It's too much. So the gift of a saboteur is to highlight you a deeper reason of why do you think you're not ready to do this. So the 2 things to be aware The gift of a saboteur, the two things. When you catch yourself saying these two things, I don't have time, I'm not ready, there's not enough time. Time can be a very tricky concept, because when we say we don't have enough time, we're not ready, it's not the right time, it's almost like the time exists outside of ourselves, right? Saboteur will show you that you give a power away, like a time, something external of you. The same thing with money. And I'm highlighting those two things because usually those two will be the biggest blocks of why we're not going to follow our true destiny. We're going to say, I don't have enough time, and I don't have what? Money, right? Those two. So just be prepared. And every stage you're going to go, you're going to meet those two challenges. So knowing that, you guys, know that it's universal, because the time and the money hit our survival fears head on. And when you start asking deeper questions and you say, is that true? Is that true that I don't have enough time? Is it true that I'm not ready? Is it true that I don't have enough resources? Because remember, your soul contract will unfold moment to moment to moment to moment. Instead, I invite you to ask better questions. So the gift of all these wisdom that we can learn from archetypes, from spiritual leaders, from stages of the contract, is to learn to ask deeper questions. And the questions you can ask when you are presented with the biggest opportunity of your life, because a lot of you here are looking for the next chapter, right? You're ready for that next chapter. When that opportunity comes, asking yourself a better questions. And asking yourself, what is it I don't see yet? Where I am giving my power away? And it seems like it's a very simple question. But if you really sit with that, and sometimes, it's literally that gap when you sit and you wait and you say, I'm not going to run around and ask for people to solve my answers. I'm going to trust my guidance. And when it comes, I will not fear it. And I will not deflate my inspiration by saying that I'm not ready, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money. Those two are like I wanted to address with you guys today, because I face them with every leap I do. Every leap. It's like I thought I conquered this. Right. With every leap, you will be faced. Okay, what's your attachment to this concept of time, space, reality? And how many resources are you lacking? And when you realize that you actually generate everything that you need, you generate your own experiences, you generate your own opportunities, and then you have entire soul family is ready here, waiting to help you, waiting to give you that inspiration. Just listen, just open your eyes, your spiritual eyes. So I wanted to, 12:58, 10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna open Q&A. I wanted to share with you guys these three angels that you have. Your support system. For survival archetypes already been there. Your three angels. Let's see. Thank you for hanging with me. With my new platform, I'm learning it with you. Here's your support team. And I encourage you guys, if you want to, let's see, stop the video. If you want to speak to them, like literally praying, asking for their guidance, I encourage you to. Nobody's going to know your process but you. I speak to my angels every day. I said my prayers. I have this devotional spiritual practice. So the angel of necessity, when you incarnate, the angel of necessity helps you choose your physical coordinates, your body, your family, your gifts, right? angel of necessity. So whenever people speak about like physical disabilities or limitations, I speak of them differently. I call them physical necessity. You know, there is a reason why some people walk and some people don't. There is a reason why you can see physically and some people don't have a sight or hearing. There's a deeper reason, and I just invite you to really embrace that reverence almost to what you have, to the body that you have, to the circumstances that you were born into, because all of it is by necessity. Everything that you have right now is exactly what is required for your mission to be fulfilled on this planet. Your second angel is angel of choice. Through every step of your journey, you guys, you will be faced with a choice. With the choice to follow your heart or to follow your mind. To follow your soul or to follow your fear. To act on faith or to act on fear. So angel of choice will guide you. This is so cool. I just love being on camera with you, so here I am. I feel more connected when I see you. So the angel of choice, you guys, think about this way. Every difficult situation that you might feel, I just can't believe I'm required to make this choice. Know that you have this angel of choice literally standing right by you. The interesting thing about invisible spiritual team that you have, they respect your free will as a human being. Until you're 7 years old, you actually, so like from the moment you're born until 7 years old, you have a lot of involvement from your angels. They're kind of like hovering on you. They're protecting you because you're still developing your ability to choose, your ability to make judgment, to discern what is good for you, what is not good for you. So for those of you who have children, maybe you notice your little children will talk about their invisible friends. Have you ever had that experience? Children can see and can feel the angels until about age 7, until they get conditioned by society to not believe into what they can see, what they can perceive. At the age of 7, something really powerful happens where the angel of choice steps in and help us to discern the consequences from a negative choice and a positive choice. So think about right now, do you remember a moment when you're probably 7 years old or 6-year-old? Maybe the first time you stole something, or maybe you lied to your parents, but you did something that you knew, you felt in your gut, oh my God, that's how it feels when I deceive, when I do something not good. 7 years old, angel of choice. That's when you meet him or her. I don't think they have a gender. And then through your life journey, you dance with your angel of choice. And then there is an angel of compassion. And the angel of compassion is this beautiful guardian that reminds you when you make not so good choice. Angel of compassion will whisper you in your dreams, maybe through other intuitive guidance, that you will have another chance. This is what angel of compassion will teach you. And the same thing, so you can learn and teach people around you whom you love, maybe your children, maybe your loved ones, that we do have another choice. Because it would be so tragic if we just danced with the angel of necessity and angel of choice, right? And we didn't have that compassion. We didn't have that second or third, maybe 10th or 100th time to choose. Those are the 3 angels that you have when you incarnate. So you come here for a big reason, for a big purpose. You don't come here alone. You have the guidance. The one thing that I want to leave you with is this. Your soul contract. You are born to do particular things with particular people. What you can't get back is time. And this is the truth, right? Just something, it's almost like, think about this way. Physicality of the body, right? There are certain things you could do when you're 20 years old. You really can't do when you are 50. Or when you are 40, there are certain things you can't do when you're 80. So the time puts limitations into our physical coordinates. So this is another insight for you. Why at certain chapters in your life, your soul will begin speaking very loud, like you will feel restless. And you'll start asking bigger questions, like why I'm here, what I'm here to do. Why? Because your contract is reaching a critical point. You have not only contracts with people, but you have the time to meet them. Think about the person that you met seemingly out of blue, but they appears right at the time in your life where you are looking for that particular message and they delivered it to you. Do you think that's random? I would argue the other way. So knowing that these angels, they're the angels of grace, so to speak. They're your divine companions. Then the people in your life are not random. And they're learning to understand your archetypes. And it's beyond this presentation. We already went so long. But I wanted to kind of paint you guys a bigger picture and point you in a direction like, okay, when you are drawn to this type of topics, right, you already have channels that open to receive this kind of information. Trust your soul. And when you find yourself either on the last stage of your sacred contract, which is surrender, where everything is being stripped away from you, maybe your relationship that you really enjoyed, and then you've been asked to release it, maybe your country, maybe some kind of other initiation form. You know that during that stage where there are a lot of things are uncertain, it is because you enter in yet another form of spiritual metamorphosis where your lead turns into gold. So now I'm gonna open Q&A. Let's see, you guys. I hope I know how to do this. Oh, the chat. Let's see. Invite. Oh, no. Yes. Okay, here you are. Okay, so whoever had, here you go. I'm gonna open. Let's see. No, not so much. I was gonna say, Michael, I'm gonna unmute you if you're ready for your question, and then you can ask me a question and I will answer it live.
Hi, Katerina.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Hi. Nice to see your face.
Ah, nice to hear you. What was your question?
So my question was much earlier to your talk, you mentioned that we're here to be taught these major life lessons, and usually kind of one in particular. And then you also said that sometimes we have to kind of keep learning it. And it's kind of interesting because I've made so much great progress, but then all of a sudden, occasionally I'll get, hit upside the head again with it. And it's kind of like, oh, you're kidding me, right? Again? And so I just wanted to ask you kind of, what's the purpose of that? It's like, all right, I get it. if I'm here to learn, forgiveness, or, to accept heal my abandonment issue or what have you. But it just kind of, I don't know, it's taking me longer than I had hoped, And so I was just wondering if you could talk more about that. It's kind of like when is the learning really, gonna stick?
That's a really good question. I feel like it's all about mastery of our choices. When we're talking about a little bit about karma, how do we create karma in the first place? Karma is a twisted energy. So think about like a twisted energy. It goes like this, right? So your life force, instead of propelling you forward, you actually going backwards. And you think, why I'm relearning this again and again and again? Well, this is how you develop mastery over your choices. So when you keep learning the same lesson, your soul is not interested in you browsing over that lesson. Your soul is so interested to master that lesson so you don't carry it forward to the next lifetime. So think about mastery like, I like the image of, apprenticeship. Like in the old medieval times, you would go and find a master and you become an apprentice for minimum 7 years. Minimum 7 years. And you hone your craft, right? Maybe you became a blacksmith. And you hone your craft and you hone your craft and you're like, I'm doing the same action again and again and again. Will I ever get it? And that mastery evolves from the continuous action and perfection of those little details. So I wonder if this metaphor helps, but it's almost like any lesson that keeps repeating in your life. It is because your soul from this bird view is interested in you getting the full depth of it, the full mastery of it. And I would also invite you to think about, okay, there's a particular lesson, and how is it tied in to what you do in the world?
Thank you.
Does it help?
Yes, it does. Yeah, thank you.
Do you guys want to see the list of main lessons? I think I have a slide here. Let's see. I'm going to mute you a little bit. And then everybody else, if you'd like to ask a question. But I want to show you guys, I hope your life lessons. Here it is. Look at this. Okay, everybody can see it. Look at this, you guys. Your life, 12 human life lessons. They seem to be so simple. But take this one, learn to receive. How many of you struggle with this lesson? Learn to love yourself. So if you have, let's say this one, I think I'm still learning this. This is a huge one, right? If you learn to do everything on your own, stand on your own 2 feet, this is going to be a tough one for you to embrace. The same thing here, learn to speak your truth. Now let's look at this one. And look at this one, you guys, the last one. Learn that you deserve to be here and not dirty when you're born. This is a huge religion condition, this whole idea of original sin. It's like a virus in your soul, in our soul. So a lot of people will just unravel this, that they are not dirty, they're not flawed, that nothing is wrong with them. That's a big karmic lesson. Okay, anybody else would like to raise the hand? Let's see. Okay, perfect. Did you guys enjoy this? Did you have fun? Let's see. Still learning this platform. But I wanted to thank you for sharing this time with me. I wanted to connect with you with this really, really profound topic that just moves me every time I share this topic with you guys. And I also wanted to try the Zoom new platform. I'm sorry if it was a little bit confusing and all over the place. I will get a hang of it so it's more organized. I promise. Thank you for hanging with me. Let's see. There's Susanna ask. Oh, Susanna. Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay. Anybody else would like? Let's see. I'm gonna ask Susanna. I'm gonna open you, and you're the panelist, so you can ask a question right now. Hi, Susanna. I wish you can hear me.
Hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. Hi.
Hi. Well, in the beginning,
did you have a question?
Well, I think you answered my question in the beginning. I was curious to learn more on my life purpose and what would be my spiritual gifts and what I can do with them.
Okay, there is a big echo. I'm sorry, there's such a big echo. Well, I'm gonna mute you for a minute. All right. Well, you guys, I feel we are at the good point where I just let you go enjoy your Sunday, your Memorial Sunday. And yes, thank you, Nicolette. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Susanna. Thank you, Mike. Such a joy to connect with you guys anytime. And if you need more clarity, maybe some resources I can recommend, you all connected to me on Facebook. So just write and reach out. Don't be a stranger. It is my joy to support you as much as I can on my journey. We're really all in this together. And I encourage you, take whatever that you learn and take whatever the insight that kind of stands out and share it with another person. So this way you channel that transformative knowledge from me to you to somebody else, and keeping that flow going. So thank you once again. It was such a joy to connect with you, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.